Zimbabwe cash crisis
We're
worse.
talking about Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 thing on there called monetary awareness. Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some RT News updates. Today I want to share with you this video clip that I saw here from Fox Business, and it's a gentleman by the name of Chris Hogan here, who's somewhat of a financial guru slash financial retirement expert who wrote the book called Retire Inspired. And so as I was listening to this, it really got me to thinking about how, as the title here says, Americans rising anxiety over paying their bills. And so, it's a short video, 4 or 5 minutes or so, but yet the advice given and just the dialogue in between him and the host here is the conventional same spiel that's been given out for years and years and years without any real input or additional information as to why things are so tight, other than the fact, people don't budget their money, they don't have a plan, they don't save enough, and all the things that has been conventional forever. And so also what really spurred this on today was, earlier today, I had an opportunity to be featured on this talk show called Forex Analytics. And so had a chance of speaking with Dale, the host of that show there. And so we were talking about just events happening around the world in regards to currency. And it all plays into the idea that the cost of living is going up, not because the world's really changing, other than the fact that monetary policy, along with fiscal policy, is basically draining the purchasing power of taxpayers, Americans, and as well as every other currency that's on this planet, the purchasing power from it, to where it's making everything tougher. And so just from the video today about Americans having anxiety, imagine what others in countries are feeling as well, whether it be what's currently going on in Argentina, as well as what's happening in Venezuela. And so on another note, I'm looking to have a friend of mine who I was speaking with earlier, who lives in Argentina, join us for a live stream sometime this week. So he's going to actually share with us what's happening on the ground there and more information from an actual Argentinian perspective, as well as I was, communicating with a friend of mine in Venezuela as well. So I'm trying to work on that as well, so that you can actually get a feel for what's actually happening in the streets there in those countries, because we're not the only ones, as it says, Americans rising in anxiety. So we're not the only ones experiencing anxiety, borderline probably panic attack in the countries that I was referring to earlier. So basically what I want to do is just play this, let you listen to it if you haven't listened to it already, and just give you some of a contradictive type of narrative along with this to kind of really get you to think about why things are the way that they are. So I'll pick up right here.
We just told you that consumer spending in the first quarter was the slowest pace in 5 years, but a new study from the American Psychiatric Association shows 66% of Americans are anxious or concerned about paying bills. That's 10% higher than just last year. Joining us now, the author of Retire Inspired, Ramsey Solutions financial expert, Chris Hogan. Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
So I'll stop it right there. So the idea that this study here, I guess she mentioned that last year is about 56%, and so now it's 66%. And so no matter of where or how this is coming about, he's going to then lead into the whole spiel of the idea that people aren't budgeting, people don't have a plan, people aren't saving enough. And so the idea is that how much can you save? How much is enough? What is that fine number that would help you get your head above water to be able to ease some of that anxiety you're feeling? And those are things that are never really discussed from the mainstream narrative. So I'll go from here and let you see what's going on.
What a jump. This is an extreme jump for anxiety about paying bills. Why?
Well, I think people are starting to step back and really understand the stress that they're under. I mean, they're working hard to make a paycheck, but that paycheck, Maria, is not going as far as they think it should or as that it ought to.
All right, so the paycheck they're making isn't going as far as it should or as it ought to, as he put it. And so why? Why is that? Why is it not going far enough? Why do it take two incomes predominantly, depending on what income level you fall into, to be able to maintain somewhat of a decent living standard in this country? And so once again, you'll never hear them say because of monetary policy, because of the fact that the cost of living continues to go up, regardless of whatever it is the Federal Reserve or the Treasury or the government tells you from their statistics. They'll never tell you that you'll never be able to out earn the rate of inflation, because we're in a debt-based monetary system. And so no matter what, the monetary supply will continue to increase, which in and of itself competes with the goods and services available. So I'll keep going from here.
And it's because of a few reasons. It's because people are not budgeting. People are getting paid and they're going out and they're just spending on whatever they want. They don't have a game plan. And obviously, we know the number one thief of our income, and that's debt.
So here we have an idea. The number one thief of our income is debt. How about the number one thief of our income is inflation or taxation through inflation? How about that one? So that's something you'll never hear from the mainstream narrative. That's even if you agree on the idea that inflation in of itself is the number one cause. So keep moving.
People are up to their eyeballs in debt, whether that's student loan debt, credit card debt, car loans. And so their money simply isn't going as far as it could.
Yeah, so here we have the idea, which is obvious. People are up to their ears and eyeballs in debt, whether it be home, auto, student loan, whatever else, consumption debt, credit card debt, you name it. People are indebted. Why is that? It's because of the cost of living. If people are only making X amount of dollars, but yet the cost of sustaining a decent lifestyle in this Western world that we're living in now, where everyone has to have decent material things, whether it be a nice home, 1 or 2 cars, vacations, and all those type of things that are become more luxury items for us, then of course you're going to have some way of keeping pace with that type of lifestyle. And the only way you can do that is by financing it, because it's not affordable in and of itself, because everything goes up. Housing prices are inflated, and then we have student loans. Ever since the Great Recession, the prices going to college have inflated. And so every other area of our life has inflated in the actual cost of maintaining or engaging in the activity. So hence the idea of being consumed in debt.
I think, Bob Nardelli here, I think if you look at social media, there's a lot more being talked about relative to how far will your money go? Are you really set for retirement, right? You see all these commercials and ads, and I think your study shows, and you mentioned, you know, that, what is it, 1 out of 3 don't have more than $5,000 towards retirement or savings. I mean, that's got to be a big issue out there.
So as you can see that the question was posed, now we're going to enter into the whole retirement phase. So here you see a stat that says retirement concerns less than 5,000 saved by 33% of those, I guess, entering into the retirement age. So now he's going to go into some practical steps based upon his conventional knowledge of you have to save more, cut back on your expenditures, as well as just fine tune. And he's going to get into the idea of that eat out less, all those things that are ideal and practical when it comes time to basically living, I guess, within your means. But nevertheless, will they say anything of the fact of, hey, maybe it's not the actual wage you're earning or how much you have stacked away. Maybe it's the item in of itself that you're doing those transactions with, i.e. the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar, which could be the ultimate problem, because no matter how much you earn, no matter how much you set aside, it'll never really appreciate in regards to what it can purchase long term, since we're in a debt-based system that inflation is baked into the cake as a monetary element of this whole thing, because debt has to be piled up on top of debt to take care of and distinguish old debt. So in that case, you can never get ahead when you're in a debt-based system. So I'll let him go on.
Well, that is a big issue, according to the study by Northwestern. But the reality is that people can do this. People can wake up and start to shake up what they're doing and start to work a plan. I talk about it in my book, Retire Inspired. When people get on a plan and they start budgeting, they start saving, and they get themselves out of debt, then they're able to invest 15% of their income for their future. We all know the 2 best things that help money grow are time and compound interest.
All right, we all know what helps money grow the most, time and compound interest. And so throughout time, it is intended for your income and your savings to grow. But yet never will you hear them say, because of monetary policy, because of quantitative easing, because of zero and NERP, depending on what country you're in, have that taken away the philosophy of saving and actually accruing interest on your savings, i.e., if you have a checking account or a savings account, you're probably getting 0.001 or whatever it might be these days. So basically, sticking money aside doesn't guarantee you that you're going to increase those, actually get some earnings on top of that. And so you're going to more so take on the risk of giving your money to these financial institutions, as we're going to see pretty soon with the whole retirement aspect of and of itself, with the pensions as well. And so you have the conventional model of 7% returns on all of these portfolios for retirement. But in actuality, if you follow Rethinking the Dollar, you've seen some of prior news updates, you know how they're falling short of basically given 7% returns. Is more around the lines of 6 or 5.5, but yet it comes with a risk because they're doing more investing into the stock market, and we all know how inflated that is right now. So I'll let them go on some more.
We just need to get more people to wake up to this and start working this plan.
So basically, get more people to wake up and work towards this plan. The plan of spend less, save more, come up with some type of budget to where you can put, as he says, 15% towards your retirement. And so that's my problem right here. This is where the whole anxiety thing kicks in, because they're spewing the word retirement, retirement, retirement. Nevertheless, the idea that right now the retirement generation, the baby boomers, as they're entering into their retirement phase with this pension situation being underfunded, Social Security being an issue, the real rate of inflation being another issue, and the concern that the baby boomer generation have on possibly living too long and not having enough saved, or being able to increase the earnings or actually grow what they do have saved, that's a major problem. So this gentleman here is telling people, predominantly the younger generation, those that are still working now, that the plan should be to stack away money, at least 15% of your income, so that when you get older, 20, 30 years down the line, you can then have a comfortable retirement. Never consider an idea that the current baby boomer generation, who will be the first real generation that would experience this whole retirement phase, the amount of anxiety a lot of them are having because they have money stacked up. They've been responsible 30, 40 years, worked their entire life, set money aside, and they're experiencing anxiety still on the idea of living too long or not having enough, i.e. because monetary policy and the depreciation of the Federal Reserve note. So when I heard this right here and listened to this, it really got me to thinking about how, you know, if we're experiencing anxiety here in so-called economic expansion, imagine how it feels to be in a country where there's an economic crisis right now because of the monetary system. If we're referring more so to what's happening in Argentina and Venezuela, can you put yourself, or try to put yourself in their mind frame where they're actually worried about the currency, you know, depreciate against another currency, which is i.e. the dollar. But for us in the future, in my opinion, the dollar will be depreciating, not in regards to any other currencies, but it'll depreciate in regards to silver, gold, and other commodities in of itself. As in hyperinflation, inflation picks up, and you realize the savings you set aside, whether it be 10,000, 100,000, isn't really worth that much in the first place because you won't be able to purchase much with it now. So I just want to take a minute to share with you what's happening in the news about this whole Americans rising anxiety situation and how Americans aren't the only one experiencing anxiety. As I mentioned, I imagine that countries such as Venezuela and Argentina, as well as other countries I can't name off the top of my head, are also experiencing anxiety in regards to their whole monetary system because of monetary policy, because of government indebtedness, and therefore. So I would love to find out your thoughts on this whole anxiety situation, whether or not people are actually experiencing a pinch because of the idea that they're not earning enough, or because the cost of living going up, or what your thoughts are. I would love to hear that. And then more importantly, also, if you have not, I want to encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity here to actually diversify yourself out of your national currency by holding precious metals, which is the people's money. So here I have a free giveaway, giving away a 10-ounce silver bar. Just enter your information here and then enter to win, and hopefully if you win, I'll definitely contact you and get you your medal. Other than that, the goal is to share this and spread the word of Rethinking the Dollar so that more people can understand why they're experiencing anxiety, borderline probably depression, depending on what country you're in. So other than that, hope all is well. I would love to hear your thoughts on this whole presentation here. Leave it down below, and if you find this informative, please share it. Have a good day.